The night was cut open by a scream that echoed down the empty suburban street, and Anna Williams whispered, "Jason, someone is outside." Jason Carter pulled her closer, pretending calm, yet his hand trembled against her skin. The clock read 2:47 a.m., and the phone on the dresser buzzed with a number Anna had never seen before. Anna said, "Why would someone call this late?" Jason muttered, "Probably wrong number," but his eyes darted like a hunted man. The narrator revealed that silence filled the room heavier than air, a storm gathering in every breath. The buzz stopped, but then came again, and Anna could feel her heart hammering louder than the sound. Jason reached for the phone too quickly, too desperately, and Anna caught his wrist before he touched it. Her voice cracked as she said, "Who keeps calling you at night, Jason?" His face stiffened, a mask slipping, the softness gone, leaving only shadows in his gaze. Anna's stomach twisted with dread because something told her this was no ordinary call. The narrator described how the room's air turned sharp, fragile, as though reality itself was about to split in two. The narrator described how the silence after the call felt heavier than the storm outside, making Anna Williams question her own safety in the home she trusted. Anna whispered, "Jason, why are you acting like this?" Jason Carter exhaled through clenched teeth and said, "You're imagining things." His words struck colder than the rain outside. Anna felt as if the walls were closing in on her, each shadow in the room alive with doubt. The narrator revealed that fear now mixed with suspicion in Anna's heart, and though she tried to silence it, her instincts screamed that something was wrong. Jason's eyes avoided hers, landing on the dark window where streaks of water distorted his reflection. Anna shivered as if she were looking at a stranger beside her, instead of the man she thought she knew. The narrator told that Anna Williams tried to calm herself, but her mind replayed every strange moment from the past month. The unexplained late nights, the excuses, the hurried calls that ended when she walked into the room. Anna said softly, "Jason, I'm not stupid." Jason Carter snapped, "You're paranoid." The sharpness in his tone felt like a slap, breaking the fragile trust that once held them together. Anna pressed her hand to her chest, her breathing quickening, while Jason's jaw clenched tighter with every word. The narrator emphasized how doubt settled deep in Anna's bones, as if a truth too terrible to name was clawing to surface. The narrator explained how Anna Williams rose from the bed, her bare feet cold against the hardwood floor, her body trembling but her eyes fixed on Jason Carter. She whispered, "If you love me, you'll tell me the truth." Jason said, "There's nothing to tell," but his words faltered at the end. Anna took a step closer, sensing his lie, and the air between them became electric with dread. The narrator described how the storm outside grew louder, thunder shaking the glass, as if the world itself demanded the truth be spoken. The narrator revealed that Jason Carter finally picked up the phone, his hands shaking, his expression unreadable. Anna Williams held her breath, waiting for an explanation that would mend her breaking heart. Jason glanced at the screen, then turned it away so she could not see, saying, "It's nothing." The words dropped like poison into the room, filling Anna with certainty that everything she feared was true. She whispered, "You're lying," and her voice trembled not with anger, but with sorrow. The narrator concluded that the distance between them had grown into a chasm, and Anna knew her world would never be the same again. The narrator revealed that morning light crept across the curtains, but Anna Williams felt no warmth. She lay awake, replaying Jason Carter's words from the night before, each one cutting like glass. Anna asked, "Why won't you just be honest with me?" Jason's reply was muffled as he said, "You're overthinking again." The sentence echoed in her head, making her doubt herself, but her instincts refused to quiet. She walked into the kitchen, gripping the counter until her knuckles whitened, fighting to stay steady. The narrator explained how the silence between them stretched longer than the ticking clock, filling the house with unease. Jason entered, dressed sharply, as though nothing had happened, his smile forced but convincing to anyone else. Anna's heart twisted at how easily he pretended, the man she loved suddenly a stranger wearing his face. The narrator described how Anna Williams prepared breakfast, her movements mechanical, as though acting out a routine she no longer believed in. Jason Carter scrolled through his phone at the table, avoiding her eyes. Anna said softly, "You never look at me anymore." Jason laughed, dismissing her words, but his laughter was hollow, lacking warmth. The sound rattled Anna more than silence would have. She placed a plate in front of him, and their hands brushed. Jason pulled away too quickly, leaving Anna staring at her palm as though it had been burned. The narrator explained that Anna realized the home she had built with trust and love now stood on cracks too deep to ignore. The narrator explained that later that day, Anna Williams sat in the living room, staring at photographs on the mantel. She traced her finger over a framed picture of her wedding with Jason Carter, whispering, "Where did you go?" The smile in the photo mocked her now, a promise broken. Jason entered, tightening in his tie, saying, "Stop being dramatic. Anna." His tone held no softness, only irritation, as though her hurt was an inconvenience. Anna turned to him with tears in her eyes, but her voice carried steel when she said, "I want the truth." The narrator revealed how the tension filled the air like thunder waiting to strike. Every word, a lightning bolt, tearing their world apart. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams called her closest friend, Emily Parker, that afternoon, her voice trembling. Anna said, "Emily, something is wrong with Jason." Emily replied gently, "You're just stressed, Anna. Maybe it's nothing." Yet Emily's words did not erase the dread building inside her. Anna looked through the window, watching rain streak against glass, and whispered, "No, this is different." Jason Carter's car pulled out of the driveway at that moment, and Anna's breath caught. The narrator explained that she felt like a prisoner watching her captor leave. Free only for a moment, yet chained by fear of what he might return to. The narrator told that after Jason Carter left, Anna Williams sat alone in the silence, feeling the weight of secrets pressing down. She replayed Emily Parker's words in her mind, but no reassurance could steady her trembling hands. She opened Jason's drawer in the study, searching for clues, her pulse racing. Anna whispered to herself, "Please, let me be wrong." The drawer rattled as she pulled it, and inside she found receipts, documents, things that did not belong. The narrator described how her chest tightened, her breath caught, and she realized her life was no longer the safe story she believed. The narrator explained that evening, shadows stretched across the living room as Anna Williams sifted through Jason Carter's hidden papers. Each receipt and unfamiliar name pulled her deeper into doubt. She whispered, "Who are you really, Jason?" Her chest tightened as she held a hotel bill dated from nights. He swore he was working late. Jason walked in suddenly, his smile too sharp, and asked, "Why are you digging through my things?" Anna froze, hiding the paper behind her back. Her voice trembled as she said, "Because I don't believe you anymore." The narrator revealed how Jason's eyes flashed with something dangerous before his charm returned, and Anna realized that trust had been replaced by fear. The narrator described how Anna Williams sat with Emily Parker at a cafe the next morning, her voice hushed with dread. Anna said, "He's lying to me, Emily, and I don't know why." Emily leaned closer and whispered, "Maybe it's not as bad as you think." But her eyes betrayed doubt she could not hide. Anna stirred her coffee without drinking, staring into the dark swirl as though answers might rise to the surface. The narrator explained that Emily's hesitation planted a seed in Anna's mind, confirming that even her closest friends sensed something was wrong. The cafe's laughter and chatter faded into static, leaving Anna with nothing but the heavy silence of her own spiraling thoughts. The narrator told how that evening, Anna Williams followed Jason Carter's car from a distance, her hands gripping the wheel tightly. She whispered to herself, "Please let me be wrong." Jason drove confidently, unaware of her presence, turning down roads he had never mentioned before. Anna's heart raced as she trailed him to a neighborhood far from their home. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting a glow that made her stomach twist. Jason parked outside an apartment building, stepping out with an ease that suggested he belonged. The narrator revealed that Anna's breath caught in her throat, because this was no business errand, it was another life waiting to be uncovered. The narrator explained that Anna Williams sat in her car across from the apartment building, her hands shaking as she dialed Emily Parker. Anna said, "He's here, Emily." He lied again. Emily's voice broke through the static, urging, "Anna, don't do anything reckless." Anna's eyes narrowed as she watched Jason Carter enter the building without hesitation, keys already in hand. The narrator revealed how Anna's chest burned with betrayal, yet she could not move, trapped by a war between fear and the need to know the truth. Every second that passed carved deeper into her heart, leaving scars no apology could erase. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams finally gathered courage, stepping out of her car into the chill night air. Her breath came in shallow bursts as she approached the apartment, each step heavy with dread. She whispered, "This is it," her words almost lost to the wind. Jason Carter's car still sat outside, proof that he was inside, living a life she had been denied. Anna pressed her palm against the cold door of the building, trembling at the thought of what waited beyond. The narrator described how, in that moment, she realized the truth would either shatter her or set her free. And either way, her world would never be the same again. The narrator described how Anna Williams waited in her car until Jason Carter vanished inside the apartment. Her breath fogged against the cold glass as a stranger suddenly approached her window. The man tapped gently, startling her, and said, "You shouldn't be here." Anna rolled the window down slightly, her voice sharp as she asked, "Do you know him?" The man's expression faltered, his eyes flicking toward the building before he muttered, "More than you think." The narrator explained that Anna felt her pulse spike because his words carried a weight too heavy for coincidence. She realized this stranger was not random. He was a piece of Jason's secret life that had just collided with her world. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams stepped out of her car, facing Mark Davis beneath the flickering streetlight. Her voice cracked as she demanded, "What do you mean by that?" Mark hesitated, then whispered, "Jason Carter isn't who you think he is." Anna felt her knees weaken, her breath quickening in the cold night air. Jason's lies suddenly grew louder in her memory, like echoes she could no longer ignore. Mark looked at her with pity and said, "He has another name, another life." The narrator described how Anna's heart dropped into silence, for the truth was no longer a suspicion, but a storm that had found its voice. The narrator explained that Anna Williams could hardly breathe as Mark Davis revealed more. He said, "You deserve to know. Jason Carter is also known as Daniel Reed." Anna whispered, "Daniel," as though speaking the name made it more real. Mark nodded solemnly, his shoulders heavy with guilt, as if he had carried this burden too long. The narrator described how Anna's world spun, memories twisting, and she whispered, "He promised me forever, but he was living a lie." Mark touched her arm gently, saying, "You're not the first he's hurt." The night seemed to close in tighter, and Anna felt her entire life fracture under the weight of this revelation. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams could not hold back tears, her voice breaking as she said, "How long has he been lying to me?" Mark Davis lowered his gaze and answered, "Years, maybe longer than you've known him." Anna staggered back, clutching her chest as though the truth itself pierced her. Jason Carter's voice echoed in her mind, every lie now stained with the name Daniel Reed. The narrator explained how Anna's grief turned into fire, her sorrow transforming into anger she could no longer contain. She whispered fiercely, "He's destroyed everything." Mark nodded grimly, his silence confirming her deepest fear, that the man she loved was only an illusion. The narrator explained that Anna Williams looked back toward the apartment, her eyes burning with rage and heartbreak. She whispered, "I gave him my life, and he gave me a stranger." Mark Davis placed a hand on her shoulder, saying, "The truth always comes out, Anna, but it will destroy him too." The narrator described how Anna wiped her tears, her face hardening with resolve, no longer the woman paralyzed by fear. She knew now that Jason Carter's secret identity as Daniel Reed was not only betrayal, it was the breaking of her soul. And though she trembled, she also burned with the strength to confront the man who had shattered her world. The narrator explained that Anna Williams returned home after the meeting with Mark Davis, her hands trembling as she clutched the steering wheel. Inside the house, the air felt foreign, every familiar object now poisoned with doubt. She whispered to herself, How long have I been living a lie? Jason Carter sat calmly at the kitchen table, flipping through papers as if nothing had shattered. He said, "You've been quiet today." His tone was steady, but his eyes refused to meet hers. The narrator revealed that Anna stood frozen, staring at him as if trying to memorize the face of the man who had betrayed her with another name, another world, another truth. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams finally broke the silence, her voice sharp as glass. She asked, "Who is Daniel Reed?" Jason Carter's hands froze mid-turn of a page, his body stiffening before he forced a laugh. "Where did you hear that?" he asked, but his voice cracked. Anna stepped closer, her fists clenched, and said, "Answer me, Jason, or should I call you Daniel?" The narrator explained how Jason's face paled, his mask slipping as shadows of fear flickered across his expression. In that moment, Anna realized she had spoken the words that shattered their fragile illusion of normalcy forever. The narrator described how Jason Carter pushed back from the table, his chair scraping against the floor as he stood. His voice dropped low, saying, "You don't understand." Anna Williams shook her head violently, her eyes filling with tears, as she answered, "I understand enough. You've been living two lives." Jason's fists tightened at his sides, his carefully constructed mask now in ruins. He shouted, "I did it to protect you." The narrator revealed how Anna flinched at the words, knowing they were twisted with desperation rather than love. The truth, finally exposed, hung in the air like broken glass, sharp and cutting with every breath. The narrator explained that Anna Williams staggered back, gripping the edge of the counter for balance, her world collapsing under the weight of betrayal. She whispered, "Protect me. You destroyed me." Jason Carter's voice cracked with anger as he said, "You don't know the whole story." Anna's breath hitched as she replied, "Then tell me the story, Jason, or Daniel, whoever you really are." The narrator described how silence filled the room, broken only by the hum of the refrigerator, as Jason's double life pressed down between them like an invisible wall, cold and merciless. The narrator revealed that Jason Carter finally stepped closer, his voice breaking under the weight of his lies. He said, "Daniel Reed was my name before you, before this life." Anna Williams stared at him, her body trembling, as tears slid silently down her cheeks. She whispered, "So everything was built on lies?" Jason shook his head fiercely and said, "Not everything, but enough." The narrator explained that Anna felt her heart shatter in that moment, knowing the man she loved was not the one standing before her. The name Daniel Reed now carried the power to burn every memory she once thought was true. The narrator revealed that the confrontation began like a storm breaking inside the kitchen, Anna Williams' voice trembling but sharp. She said, "You lied to me about everything." Jason Carter slammed his fist on the table and shouted, "I lied to protect you." The sound echoed through the house, rattling glasses in the cupboard. Anna stepped back, clutching her chest as she whispered, "Protect me from what, Jason? From Daniel Reed?" His eyes flared with rage, his face torn between fury and fear. The narrator described how silence stretched, filled only by their ragged breaths, as though even the walls feared what would come next. The narrator explained that Anna Williams' tears fell, but her voice grew stronger, each word striking like a blade. She said, "You built a marriage on a false name, a false life." Jason Carter stepped closer, pointing at her with trembling hands, shouting, "You don't know the danger I was in." Anna shook her head, her breath sharp, and whispered, "No, the danger was loving you." The narrator revealed how Jason's chest rose and fell like a man drowning, his desperation clawing through every syllable, while Anna's resolve hardened into steel. Their love had burned into ashes, and now only fury remained. The narrator described how Jason Carter's voice cracked, desperation leaking into his anger. He shouted, "Daniel Reed was a name I left behind, but I couldn't escape it." Anna Williams raised her chin and answered, "And yet you dragged me into your lies." Her voice cut through the air, each syllable sharp. Jason's hand hovered as though he wanted to reach for her, but his arm dropped uselessly by his side. The narrator revealed how Anna's tears turned into fire, her grief now blazing into rage. She shouted, You don't get to decide who I married. You don't get to rewrite my life. Jason collapsed into silence, his mask completely destroyed. The narrator explained that Anna Williams stormed into the living room, her voice trembling with fury. She said every kiss, every promise was Daniel Reed pretending to be Jason Carter. Jason followed her, his voice pleading, "No, Anna, I loved you, that part was real." Anna spun to face him, her eyes blazing, and shouted, "Real doesn't come with two names, two lives." The narrator revealed how Jason's words fell uselessly between them, crushed by the weight of truth. The walls of their home felt smaller, the air suffocating as the storm inside them reached its peak. The narrator revealed that Jason Carter finally broke, dropping to his knees in the center of the room. He said, "I never wanted to hurt you. I tried to leave Daniel Reed behind." Anna Williams stood over him, her tears falling, her hands trembling as she whispered, "But you didn't. You brought him here and buried me under his lies." The narrator explained how Jason's sobs filled the silence, raw and broken, while Anna turned away, unable to look at him. Their love, once fragile but whole, was now a battlefield of shattered trust. The climax left nothing but devastation. The truth laid bare, cruel and unforgiving. The narrator revealed that dawn crept into the living room, spilling pale light across the ruins of the night before. Anna Williams sat on the couch, her body trembling, her face hollow from tears. Jason Carter sat on the floor, his head bowed, voice breaking as he whispered, "Anna, I never wanted this to happen." Anna stared at him, her voice low but firm as she said, "You wanted a life where lies were easier than love." The silence that followed was heavier than any storm. The narrator explained that the home they once built together now felt like a grave, every shadow whispering betrayal. The narrator described how Anna Williams finally stood, her hands trembling but her spine straightening with resolve. She said, "I gave you everything, and you gave me a stranger." Jason Carter rose to his feet, his eyes desperate, saying, "I am still your husband." Anna's lips curled with sorrow as she answered, "No, you're Daniel Reed, and I never knew him." The narrator explained that Jason's face cracked, his confidence gone, leaving only a broken man clinging to ashes. Anna's strength grew in the silence, as if betrayal had burned away her weakness and left behind steel. The narrator explained that Anna Williams walked to the mantel, her eyes lingering on their wedding photograph. She lifted the frame with shaking hands, whispering, "This was built on lies." Jason Carter moved forward, voice breaking, "Please, Anna, don't throw it away." Anna turned to him with fire in her eyes and said, "You already did." With one motion, she placed the frame face down on the mantel, as though burying their past. The narrator described how Jason's chest collapsed, the weight of her words crushing the last thread of hope he held. The narrator revealed that Anna Williams moved to the doorway, her hand resting on the frame, her voice steady for the first time. She said, "You may have stolen years from me, but you won't steal who I am." Jason Carter whispered, "Anna, please," his voice so fragile it nearly broke her heart again. But she turned, her face resolute, and answered, "Daniel Reed is not the man I married." The narrator described how Jason collapsed onto the couch, his body hollow, while Anna's strength carried her forward, each step away a strike of freedom forged in fire. The narrator concluded that Anna Williams stepped outside, the cold morning air cutting her cheeks, but her heart finally unchained. Jason Carter remained inside, his whisper chasing her like smoke, "I will always love you." Anna froze for a moment, then whispered to herself, "But you were never real." The narrator explained that silence filled the street as Anna walked away, her figure growing smaller in the pale light. The final blow was not his confession or his lies, but her realization that love had died the moment truth was buried. The story ended with her footsteps echoing like the sound of a heart breaking, final and irreversible.